Now the next one is internal reconnaissance. So what happened here, basically the attacker gets an access to your internal resources, but he doesn't do anything. So this example can be used as a, let's say one of the stranger come to your house just to ask for the information, but at the same time that stranger is look around inside the house where the valuable stuff might be placed, where the locker might be placed. So he might be having some, the stealing strategy maybe in the future. So the same technique apply by the attacker in this situation. So what he does, basically he do not harm to the internal resources, but he just monitor each and everything what's going on inside the office. So he tried to understand where the financial data might be stored, where company contract might be stored, or any important data where it might be stored, right? And he will also try to find if any weakness into the system. For example, there are like software some company use, and he will see if that software has any weakness or vulnerability he can take advantage of. That is something he will also try to understand from the internal reconnaissance. And if possible, he will also try to see if he can do the privilege escalation when he will start his attacking activity, right? So he will do each and everything, scanning to understand what he can, attack in the future, because once he will start attacking, he will do each and every activity at the same time. So that is how the internal reconnaissance will get done by the attacker once he has the access to the system. Now, what is the solution to protect from this internal reconnaissance? So the first solution would be implement strong access control. Under this, what you can do, you can ask user to apply the strong and unique password. They should not be using any password which is easily guessable by the attacker. And at the same time, you should be enabling the multi-factor authentication, and you should not be giving like all access to one of the user. For example, if the user from HR department, the HR department user should be having access to only resources belong to HR, right? They should not be able to access the resources belong to accounting department, and the vice versa you can do for the accounting as well. Because if HR system get compromised, then attacker is only able to get the information until the HR has the access, right? He's not able to jump into like all company data or all company resources. So that is how you basically going to restrict the access. The next solution would be to monitor your network activity. So if you are like network administrator or maybe security administrator, then you should be monitoring all the logs if any suspicious activity is going. For example, if the attacker is able to log in into the system and he is logging into like a non-business time, or he is trying to maybe uploading some data into cloud, then the monitoring people should be monitoring such kind of activity if they see like any suspicious activity is going, right? So along with that, they can also monitor all the logs if they see like someone is trying to get an access to so and so system, even though that person not belong to so and so department, right? The next solution would be keep your software and system up to date. This is important because let's say attacker was able to hack into one of the system and he was doing reconnaissance. He was able to understand one of the servers has the software which has a vulnerability, and it has a vulnerability because it was not updated. So having the vulnerability into the software is basically an opportunity for the attacker. So what he will do, he can take the advantage of their vulnerability, and from that particular software or system he can hack into like another system or the softwares. And at the same time, you should be applying patches as soon as they have released. Sometimes there's like confusion because once you apply the patches, it's basically break the other thing, right? That happens. So your team knows this kind of thing. So what they do, basically they test the patches before it applying to all the system. So that kind of precaution has been taken, but the applying the patches is also important because it can stop any vulnerability might be exist on that particular service or application. Now the next solution would be to encrypt your any sensitive data, because sometimes what happens, user may be traveling from one place to another and they carry their VPN laptop. For example, attacker has stolen that laptop and he carry that laptop to his like house and he attached the hard disk of that laptop to his other computer. But since hard disk has been removed from the system, so here like encryption is applied, and at that point all the data keeps as encrypted, so that even though he has the access to all the information, but it will be like non-readable format. Now another solution is to conducting regular security audits. In this, what happened, basically you are doing the security audits by using internal, or maybe you are asking someone else as a third party to come your office and do some audits. And sometimes you also ask them to do the pen testing just to identify if any weakness or vulnerability exists in your environment, right? So they do some scan and pen testing, and they will send you the report that these are the vulnerability exist in your environment, so that you can take precautionary step to apply patches if vulnerabilities exist. All right. Now the last but not least, which is user awareness training. So in this, what happened, you should be providing the user awareness training to the user related to phishing attack or how social engineering tactic work. So if any attacker or suspicious user is sending you the email and it has like link or attachment attached, but you do not know that user, or you do not know about the link or attachment, then you should be contacting to IT. You should not directly click upon the link, provide your information like username and password, right? So you should be contacting to IT support. So user awareness training is really important, and it should be like providing to all the users. So far we discussed about the what kind of damage or impact it will have on the company once its data get leaked into public domain, or if any attacker is able to hack into the company. And let's say if attacker encrypt all the company data, it's basically a disaster situation for any company, whether it is small company, medium or large. So for data is like basically their foundation. If attacker is able to hack into foundation, of course company is going to fall, right? Because it is going to cause reputational damage as well as the financial loss. So preventing data is utmost important task for any company. At the same time, we also covered some of the attack types and what are the solutions or preventive measures we can take, right? Now in the next video, we are going to discuss upon what is information security and what are the techniques it uses to prevent from any data breach. Alright, so this is for now, and I'll see you in the next one.